welcome back to a new episode of Undertaker 365. I'm your host, Jacob Vandenberg. What I want to talk to you about today is where we started at, where we are today, and where we're going in the foreseeable future. The word humble probably isn't enough to express at this point. Thus far, we have produced and put out 14 episodes of Undertaker 365. We have crossed the threshold of 90,000 views. I mean, I can't even begin to really put into words how I feel about that and why I think it's so important. When we launched this program, we talked to you about breaking down the barriers, coming at it a more simple approach to discussing what funeral services are and how it relates to you and your family, kind of ripping away a little bit of the black clouds or the dogmas that relate to funeral businesses, and really focused on just providing you content that's real and it's tangible. You can see the results of what the things that we're doing. We felt it very important to bring in other people besides myself and my staff. We want to bring in field experts. Unfortunately, we've been plagued with the pandemic and COVID-19. We've had to postpone a couple of our experts to come in and do these interviews and these questions going back and forth, these Q&As. That is part of our future. We are going to continue to roll these out. We feel it's very important for you as the person that's interested to just get as much information as possible. So that's my mission. My mission still stays the course. We're still talking about things that are very important that we deal with on a daily basis and take for granted, but yet the consumer, the person that's interested, has no idea. So my mission stays the same. Our mission here at Undertaker 365 and Vandenberg Funeral Home is to continue to move forward, continue to provide you that fresh content and information that you don't have information or you don't have access to immediately. We're going to continue to provide that. We're going to continue to break down the barriers. We're going to continue to rip apart the dogma of the negative connotation regarding what funeral business is and burial services and cremation, and just point a spotlight on everything that's going on so that you find value in what we do. I mean, I know the value, but it's my job to show you step by step the importance of what funeral services are and why you need to do them for your family. Whether it be the most extravagant or the most basic, simple service possible, it is important that you do something to honor that person that you love. I continue to request every single episode for our viewers to participate in this show, in this series. Send us your questions. Send us some things that you'd like to know about. Send us some ideas. There's nothing that we haven't taken in yet that we haven't said, that's a good idea. Or there hasn't been a question that's been submitted that we said, we're not going to answer that. Everything that's coming through us, we're filtering down, and we're promoting and we're getting out there in some capacity. So just a real quick recap over those 14 episodes. Obviously, you have the introduction, you have the quote-unquote pilot series and how we're going to continue to build upon and broaden our viewership and build this show, this series. But then we were smacked in the face with COVID-19, just like the rest of the world was. And I think it's interesting to see, looking back, how capable and able, I think are the best words to put it, our staff was in that adversity. We were forced with making some very difficult decisions that, quite frankly, this business, this industry has never had to make before. And that is whether or not we're going to allow for visitations and funeral services to continue. Thankfully, we started getting some general direction, some mandates that are set forth by the governing bodies here in the state of Illinois, and certainly through our associations, local and national, for funeral directors. So we were able to kind of break that down and be able to put out educated content based upon the facts that are given to us by the mandates by the CDC and all the rest of the agencies. So we stared adversity down, we reacted, and then we were able to provide services. And no step along the way did we misstep at all. Our staff responded well. We embraced what happened. We embraced the situation. Luckily for us, the families that we've been servicing have been extremely understanding. They have been patient. We have joked along the way, and at the end of the day, it's been a partnership amongst the funeral home staff, myself, and certainly the families we serve. Because really, the things that we're able to accomplish with the mandates based upon the pandemic were not just mine. This is a collaborative effort, and we feel very happy that we were able to serve in such a way. With the pandemic and everything that's gone along with it, our funeral home I wouldn't say has been a part of the technological boom that most other places have gone through. We're trying to catch up with that. This has forced us to make that decision immediately. We had to launch virtual funerals. We had to engage in video conferencing funeral arrangements and webcasting funerals. These are things that a short 4, 5, 6 months ago we never even really considered. It's only happened maybe once. Now it's happening in every service we schedule. So again, picking back, you see the emotion, you see what's going on internally to be able to do that. Specific request from the family. So the viewer has witnessed all that firsthand. New technology brought into our funeral home, implemented, and it's been, knock on wood, flawless. It's worked out great. Technology has worked out fabulous for what we've been trying to do. The viewer has also been a part of a new chapter in the funeral business. When I bought and the funeral home bought a 1973 Cadillac hearse, one that my grandfather had. This is a combo, hearse ambulance combo. If anybody that knows the Vandenberg family, they know that they have a long history working in the ambulance service and the funeral home business. So it's a very sentimental episode, one that when I was able to acquire this new vehicle, new to us vehicle, very sentimental, fairly emotional, and it's a part of our family now. So there's things that are going to be rolling out with that, and how we're going to bring it into the funeral service and be able to utilize it, whether it be through marketing or through personalized funerals. People that are wanting to, go back in time a little bit and bring some of the nostalgia that surrounds the industry and maybe their upbringing. Speaking of personalized funerals, we brought to you the very first ever, from what I recall at least, basically a televised video movie of a funeral service that was produced at the family's request to be a personalized funeral for an individual who dedicated his life to his family, to his friends, and to his motorcycle. And the entire episode was derived around customizing the funeral at the family's request to honor that passion. And we were able to document that from the very beginning to the end. And again, our staff did a phenomenal job of rising to the call and answering and doing all the things that the family requested, and the friends and the motorcycle organizations were able to ask of us, and we did. Not only was it the first time we did that, but it was also the first time we've ever done a drive-through funeral. That may have been glossed over because of everything that was going on with the motorcycle and the motorcycle hearse and the balloon release. For us, that was the first time we've ever experienced or had to do a drive-through funeral, and that was a direct response to the overwhelming support of all the friends and family that wanted to pay their respects to Mr. Benedetto. And that was because of the COVID-19 pandemic and not being able to fully open up our facilities to allow people in. So a lot of firsts. I think it's, again, I said humble in the beginning, and I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm more emotional about it because we've done a lot of firsts together. It was the first time I ever had to do something like this. So that's number one. Number two, the first time we had to deal with a pandemic and all but shutter and close the business and the way that we do things. First time having a drive-through funeral. These are all very important. They're important to how we grow. And that's the next chapter. Moving forward, we're going to continue our series. We think it's important to continue to inundate you with information. However, we're going to do that in a different format. The feedback we're getting, all great feedback, is that we spread it out a little bit. We allow people the opportunity to find us, understand us, and then follow us. Speaking of finding us, we're the #1 hashtag for Undertaker 365 on Google. I think that's amazing. Speaks to the character and to the drive and willpower of this team. And we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to move forward because we're revolutionizing how people get information regarding funeral services. So, moving forward, we're going to, instead of having a weekly episode, we're going to move it to an every 2-week episode or bi-weekly. That's going to be our episode reality. We're also going to continue moving forward as the pandemic mandates start to lift. We're going to continue to move forward with finding our field experts again, getting them inside, getting our Q&As going, our interviews, bringing you on some site tours, kind of getting you a little bit more of the behind the scenes of what's going on in the funeral business. Obviously more reality. It's proven to be very effective, and people want to find out more about what's going on in a daily life of a funeral director. And in between those, we're going to kind of throw little tiny videos out there just to kind of get people intrigued and continue to want to follow and stay active on our page. So this seems like a somber video. I couldn't be any happier with the progress that our team has done doing all this in a very short amount of time. And if I can, I just want to inject a little personal feeling on this. Is that early on we were getting some negative feedback because we were pushing information for funeral services during a global pandemic. It was completely unrelated. We were launching our series because we worked on it for 3 months prior. And I think there's nobody that understands the effects of the global pandemic than the people right here in this office, this industry. You know, funeral directors and embalmers are essential workers and frontline workers at best. We are working daily to promote better health, and we're doing it because the families are calling upon us. I think it's important for you to understand we're not backing off this because of negative criticisms that we're receiving. We're slowing down and we're resetting because we have so much information that we want to continue to give it to you in a nice, orderly fashion, something that you're going to be intrigued with and entertained by. I just wanted to get that off my chest. This is not a somber message. This is a message that it proves the character of this series, of this team. It proves that a lot of people are interested in what's going on in the funeral business, and we're here to give that information to you. We're not going to stop. We're going to reset. We're going to bring back a better episode, more content, and I can't be any happier with what we've done so far. So, again, not a somber moment, a happy moment. This is what we've been able to accomplish in a very short amount of time, folks. We have decades ahead of us. We have decades worth of content. You've only seen a glimpse of the life of a funeral director and embalmer. You've only seen a glimpse of the inner workings of a funeral home. I'll just leave it at that. I hope that's a cliffhanger enough for you. I cannot wait to get back in front of you in the episodes moving forward. I encourage you to continue to send your information, your questions, your ideas. Send them in to us. We're here to revolutionize what's going on in the funeral business, and we can't do it alone. So, with that, I'll turn it back over to the rest of our team, and we'll talk to you all very, very, very soon. Take care and be well.